Let's see. But we got to see if we're actually working now. Oh, yeah. It's time to see if I'm streaming. Because for some reason, it doesn't always, start, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean, Vern? Know what I mean? 3, 2. There we go. Now it's working. Excellent. So how's everyone doing? Yes, lovely. Yes. Let's just call up this just so I can see the chat room in case anyone decides to show up. And I'll take a lovely sip of my obscenely large pop, which I don't want to talk about because it's obscenely large. So, how's everyone doing? What did you guys do this week? Did you do any writing? I think that's the main important question. The answer to me, yes, my week was lovely. Thank you for asking. I had a great time. Did I do any writing? Sort of writing. I did more planning. So, yeah, went back over Act 1, did some just jotting down notes. I haven't written anything on the page yet. That is kind of not happening right away. And yeah, I also spent some time researching. And by researching, you mean, going on the interwebs, looking up. Sorry, I have to just shut my phone so it doesn't do any weird, crazy things while we're up. Yeah, looking up information on Act 2 and such so that I can talk semi-intelligently about Act 2. And I will talk intelligently. It will blow your minds how intelligently I'm going to be talking. I'm just trying to get my information all put aside. Okay, where did we leave off? We left off, well, what I'm doing, I'm not sure if you guys know, but this lovely Plan Your Book, a 24-chapter novel writing template by Derek Murphy. Boom. Can you see that? If you look it up on the interwebs, then you'll find it. You can print it out, and it will help you just kind of formulate some of your basic thoughts going forward. And that's what I did. I'm formulating my thoughts. And I had to go back because I think I did, it breaks it down, obviously, into 6 sort of parts for Act 1, 12 parts for Act 2, so 6 in the first half, 6 in the second half, and then 6 for Act 3. So I did the first 6. Really bad day. Number 2 was something peculiar. Something strange happens. 3, grasping at straws. Oh my goodness, life is a little bit chaotic, out of control. I got to get back into control. I don't really know. Then the inciting incident. That kind of happens in there. And then the call to adventure. Hey, something crazy is happening. Will you go on this adventure with us? In this case, no. Hells to the no. Then they bury your head in the sand. They kind of in Blake Snyder's Save the Cat, it's kind of like the debate. Not the head in the sand, but the debate. So the main character knows that something's got to happen, but now it's figuring out what it is and how it's going to happen. So maybe not like a head in the sand so much as a debate. Always remember when you drink to put your pinky out. That's how you know you're upper class. And then the last one is pull out the rug. So trying to fix ordinary world problems while resisting the lure of the supernatural world, and everything comes tumble down, and he has to, or she, has to leave their comfort and embark on this new journey. So that's where we left off. For me, my story the inciting incident was he lost his job to a bunch of like robots and stuff. And then, yeah, it ended with him deciding he was going to join the world of human robots himself. It's like, if I can't get a job as myself, I'm going to get a job, working for this company that took my job before. So, and that's where I think I have my first problem. Researching this for Act 2. All the different ways. We'll go through this here. Some of it goes back to Act 2, and we'll go forward into Act 3 as well. But let's talk about it. This is the wellstoried.com website. See? wellstoried.com. Story structure simplified. I downloaded. I like downloading stuff and printing out stuff and planning things to death. It's a way of procrastination. It makes me feel like I'm moving ahead without actually moving ahead. But it does actually provide some good information. So this one, going back to Act 1, developing the heart of your story. This is like the very first thing, and I feel like a moron for not even talking about it. What is your protagonist's story goal and your antagonist's story goal? Very good questions to know and to answer for your work. I think for me especially, I get caught up in just the coolness of my story idea. Oh man, what if a guy finds out he's the son of werewolves? And, it's a cool idea. I still think it's a cool idea. You can't tell me otherwise. Or what if there were multiple universes and mirrors and reflections in our world were portals into those other alternate universes, but because our versions of ourselves in those universes were also pressing back at the exact same time, you would never be able to pass over. But what would happen if someone were connected to a universe where there was no you in the mirror, in one particular mirror? You walked by and there was no one there, and you were able to walk through. Cool idea, but without a character's goal in mind and the antagonist goal, I think it peters out. And I think researching Act 2, this is a very important time because everyone seems to peter out in Act 2. They have a great idea for a beginning. They know how it's going to end, but the middle part is all just like, I don't know what to do. And this is, I think, why. What is their goal? What is the antagonist's goal? If you know what they want and what they need, then it's easier to plot out, they're taking steps to do it. Instead of like, okay, crap, I've explained this cool world that I'm in, and now what? So, yes, I think if you have a chance, go and download it. Boom, bada boom. And maybe answer these questions. I will be answering them tonight during our little writing session because I think I skipped over them. And it shows. Because now, he's lost his job, and now he's going to go get a job at BioWare, the company that turns humans into robots, so that they can work while they sleep. Why? Okay, so he's got a job now, and he's making some money. Okay, so his goal is met right after he gets hired. That's not a goal. And then I just have to fill Act 2 with some cool scenes? No, I tell you. He's got to be working towards something. And by the midpoint, he either gets it or doesn't. So this was some other things that I printed off, all having to do with character, even though I know we said Act 2 today. We'll get there. We're just touching on if you're having trouble with Act 2, like most of us, maybe it's the character. Maybe you need to go back and make sure you have properly thought out this character. I found on this one website, Nicole L. Ochoa. I have no idea how to pronounce it. I wrote her name down. She has a blog, but I don't think she's posted anything in a year or so. I think she went to a writing conference and they talked about all this information because I saw similar things elsewhere, but I couldn't determine where the original source was. So, but she had made up her own list. Character, and I'm going to do this for the protagonist and the antagonist. The first question is, the lie. What is a lie that your character believes about themselves? Like they think it's a strength, but maybe doesn't want people to know about them. Yeah, the origin of the lie. So I'm thinking for my character, he thinks that he's not smart, or he can't depend on his brain, his intellect. He can only rely on his physical self. That's what he can count on. And he can't even really count on that. But the origin of the lie, he has epilepsy. So from a young age, he feels like his brain has let him down. And technically his body's letting him down. Like it's not really his brain, but he feels like I can make my body strong. I may not know when my brain glitches, but I can work on my body. So he's proud of his that he can work with his hands. So as a young kid having seizures and in front of people probably made him feel very self-conscious. So, and why is this character insisting this lie is the truth? Well, I think because he's probably, worked on his physical strength, and he's in good shape, and he makes his living with his hands. So that kind of gives him a validation to that lie. Like, my body is important, and I can depend on my body because I'm supporting myself through physical labor. I'm not paying the bills, thinking deep thoughts, and so he's kind of ignored that aspect. It's a lie. He's a smart guy. He just, yeah. And the truth. What is the truth? So I'll just show this a little bit more. Origin of the lie, the motivation behind living the lie, and the truth. The truth is he's a smart guy. And if his body fails him, which I think it will by the end of, he's not going to be able to quite trust his body. And I think I have plans on lopping off some body parts, so he will possibly be handicapped in some way, like losing an arm or something. So that source of strength will be gone for him at the end. And at the beginning, losing an arm or a limb would be devastating him, and it would probably send him into a spiral. Depression and who knows. But by the end of this novel, he is able to know that that's not his only source of strength. I've lost an arm, but I've still got my mind. I've still got the rest of my body. My value is not tied up in what I can lift and what I can do like that. So, who or what is the villain or force? I think the villain, see, I didn't really I didn't study specifically about the antagonist. And that's probably going to be another video at some day, soon. But it seems to me that the villain needs to be sort of the opposite of the hero. So I'm guessing that the villain is probably very reliant on their intellect. They maybe don't think too much about themselves physically. Maybe they are weak. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're really fit and attractive and all that. But they are proud of their mind and their intellect. And so They are mirror images of each other in a sense. Sort of like one is the Spock and one is the bearded Spock from the Mirror universe that's evil. Though they were both brilliant, so that doesn't entirely work. Anyway, moving on to another lovely... Oh, what else do we have here? Man, I didn't actually have a lot of Act 2 stuff because Act 2 is a problem area. A lot of people had lots of articles about how hard the Act 2 was, and it is. But no one had any clear-cut solutions as far as I could tell. So anyway, when we start, focus on character. At the end of Act 1, they should have a plan, a desire. For mine, I think, because I had to go back, his friend commits suicide, which is tragic, but I think I need to link it to BioWare. So somehow, somehow he knows or is told that his friend was trying to get information about BioWare, like going undercover for the Resistance. And he got killed because of it. Maybe just for a couple days. He was only in there for a couple days, but they found him. And they made him commit suicide, which I guess is murder. But anyway, point being, so now his plan is, I want to get in there and avenge my friend. I want to help. So that's his plan. I want to get in there. I want to gather information as to what they're up to, because something's not right. If they're hiding things from people and killing off people who are trying to find it out. So, and he feels he can do that. So that is his plan. Is to, well, not just get in the program, because if he just wanted to join BioWare, he would, that's going to happen within the first few chapters, or the first few chapters of Act 2. He'll succeed. Yay for him! And yeah, that'll be it. Let's see. There we go. Oh, that's how we do it. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to see who's in the chat, even if they're not talking. And I see Sticky Pigs. Well, hello, Sticky Pigs. I don't know who you are, but I like your name. At least I like eating pigs. They're delicious. Bacon. You'll have to tell me if you're in chat. If you tell me what you're working on. I already know I just kicked the wall. And frankly, she needs to get down and start writing. I appreciate your support, though. Thank you. Doo-doo. But how come I can't see who is actually, like, I don't like this. I'm going to do that. Anyway, so thank you for joining us. Character checklist. We're still in character. I know this is Act 2, but I feel really bad. That I just feel like this needs to be said, because this is something that I discovered. Character checklist. Can you see? Can you see it? It's so beautiful. There we go. Just some questions to ask about your characters. Are both the protagonist and antagonist extraordinary in some way? So, yes. Yes, they are. One is, physically strong. The other is intellectually strong. I think, I think that sets them apart. They're polar opposites. Realism. I'll have to make sure they have a mixture of good and bad qualities that will make them real. So don't make them caricatures. I like slapping babies and kicking puppies. That might be a little over the top. Then, goals. Do they have clear and compelling goals? What is the antagonist goal? You better figure this out. I better figure this out before I get too far into it. Like, what is the villain trying to achieve? Like, I'm assuming they've got a lot of people plugged in, and they want more people. So they're trying to get as many people fired and desperate as they can, so they all sign up for this. And eventually they have everyone under their control. They can just flick a switch and turn everyone into zombies, which would be not cool. Or would it? Thank you. I just kicked a wall. It is a stunning checklist. I even printed it in color because I spare no expense. Look at that. It's actually not from me, so though you probably knew that. I found it on Martina Boone, Adventures in YoungAdultPublishing.com. Good questions to ask yourself. Anyway, go through it, check it out. If you don't, you're a fool, I say, a fool. And let me just see what else we have to go through before we begin writing. Now, on to some actual Act 2 stuff. And it's pretty sad that I only really have a few sheets. Act 2 checklist, courtesy of No Film School. Act 2 checklist. Well, look, it's all, we're invisible now. Does your character have a clear goal? No, which is what I was embarrassed to discover. I thought I had a clear goal, but as soon as I actually saw it in front of me and thought about it for 2 seconds, I realized my character does not have a clear goal. He's in a cool situation and an awesomely interesting world, but no. So, nope. Can you introduce a time lock? Now, this is something that is, usually something that's fairly obvious, like a ticking time bomb. Oh my goodness, we've got to get the people off the boat, or else in 2 hours the bomb's going to explode. That's a time lock. They have 2 hours to do something. Anything that puts like a deadline in place. If there's no sense of urgency, then there's less sense of drama and conflict. So if you can figure out, like for instance, in my case, BioWare might need to enslave everybody very shortly, or they're going to reach a tipping point or something, where once they get X number of the population under their control, they are unstoppable. Though I don't really like that one, now that I think about it. It's very kind of arbitrary. Like, once we get 80% of the people under our control, the world is ours. Why 80? Why not 79%? Why not 81%? It makes it hard for like him to, there's not like a definite, I've got to save or shut off the computer before this happens, because so he manages to shut off the computer before they add the next person, and oh no, our plans are foiled because we just needed that one more person. It doesn't make sense that way. So I think it's got to be some other kind of deadline. Maybe a vote. Maybe in the city, the city council or town council. Well, not town council because it's going to be a city. A city council is voting on some sort of law that will give BioWare access to all the power they need to achieve their desires. And that vote is happening on this day, and the vote's going to happen at 3 p.m. Who knows? But that might make it a little bit easier. So he's just got to stop things before the vote is taken. What's your B story? Or how will the B story support the A story? Meow. Well, wouldn't you like to know? The B story, I like to think of it as a love story. And I think it will be. Literally, it will be a growing love between the infiltrator and their handler. Love will blossom on the battlefield. Have you guys ever seen, what is it, Enemy at the Gates? Good movie. You should see it. Yeah. I think when you have an action movie It's always nice to have a love story as the B story. So check and check. And what else can we learn about your leads? Take us to deeper places emotionally. Well, we will go there, my friends. We will go deep emotionally. There will be tears. There will be sobbing. There may even be some anger. We'll see. And what are the hurdles they'll face to complete their goals? Yes, there will be goals and hurdles. What else do we got here? Well, yeah. This is something that I found script writing tips. Up there, do you see that? Script writing tips. There we go. Exploring, getting trained. So after we switch into Act 2, he's gone into a new world. The first bit is exploring. Then there is getting trained, they say, in this world. Then the fun and games, because they've been trained and now they're having, and then the midpoint happens. And that's where we're going to kind of stop. I don't want to get into the crazy second half, because let's face it, there's so much. Same here. Here's another one from Script Reader. See, there's so much information. It blows my mind. Go this way. The confrontation. It is, yeah. After the plot point 1, everything changes that upsets the world. Then there's the realization. The protagonist's knowledge grows and his reactions become more informed. Pinch point 1. I've seen pinch point come up quite a lot, but a reminder of the antagonist's power, which gives us new clues. And then realization, the antagonist or the protagonist's knowledge grows. And then the protagonist learns the true nature of the central conflict and of the MacGuffin, which is a lovely term. You should Google it. It's very interesting. Caffeine is delicious. And this last sheet, I swear it's the last sheet. Well, no, actually I lied. It's the last single sheet. Hannah, or Wendy Hannah, screenwriter, she sort of graphed out some stuff, which I think is interesting. It's kind of got the Act 2 goal, like, oh my goodness, my friend has been murdered. I've got to infiltrate BioWare and figure out what's going on. That's his problem at the beginning of Act 2. So the end of Act 2 should end with the solution. He finds out what's going on in BioWare. That's kind of, And then the beginning, the inciting incident where he loses his job because businesses can hire these human robots for half the price. That problem, the global problem, will be resolved at the very end when he blows up the central computer that controls everyone or something. So, yeah. Oh, man, there's so much stuff. So much stuff. We'll just spend a few more minutes on this last set of sheets, and then I swear this is the last little bit. And then we will move on. Plotting Act 2, 23 ways to defeat the sagging middle, because the middle will sag. Boom, see it? There's a lot of stuff going on in the middle so I guess these are just things to think about. They're nothing specific, but if you're having difficulty, then maybe whip out this list and look at different ways you can do it. One is the hero's journey. Yeah. It just lists the stages in the middle. Crossing the first threshold, tests, allies, enemies, approaching the innermost cave, supreme ordeal, reward, the roadblock. It's what you probably already know if you've done. Then there's things like, I'm trying to think of something that's a little bit easier. A rescue. This is number 7, a rescue. If your plot or your novel is, like a rescue, They're going to rescue someone who's been kidnapped. They're going to rescue a piece of tech that's fallen into the wrong hands, any of those things. Then Act 2 should be, if you tease the reader with a series of near rescues. So that kind of, oh yeah, they are trying to rescue or, do this. Escape if they are trapped, if they're the ones kidnapped. If it's kind of like those prison movies where they want to escape the prison by the end, then it's an escape movie, and there's like, oh, are they going to get out? No. Oh, they're going to, oh, there's a setback. Guard has discovered one of their tunnels, or, yeah. The riddle, if it's a good mystery, then it should be red herrings and throw out clues. Underdog. Is the person yeah, they're the underdog. Temptation, are you going to, yeah. Anyway. If it's a loved one, boy meets girl type thing. Act 1, boy meets girl and they hate each other. Act 2, they still hate each other. I mean, you could mix it up, I guess. You could say they meet each other, the boy loves the girl doesn't like him. Then something happens and she loves him, but he's not so sure now. And then Act 3, they get together. Yay! Kissy time. Forbidden love. Oh, hasn't Stephenie Meyer milked this one in her Twilight series? Don't you say bad things about Stephenie Meyer. Just don't. She's a treasure. I liked her books, even though the movies. Can we talk about the Twilight movies still? Is that still a thing? Can we do that? Because I just was watching them last month. And the movies are kind of a disappointment. However, the creepy baby, the creepy Renesmee, whatever, that creepy CGI baby face on the baby and the infant and the young, it's just, oh man, it ruins that whole, as soon as the baby's born, done. Can't do it anymore. Okay, I gotta stop. Discovery, do they have secrets? And Act 2 is about people possibly finding out the secrets. So anyway, if you're interested in like, oh man, I'm stuck, I don't know what to do, maybe those will help you. Maybe not. Maybe they'll be completely useless and whatnot. So now it is time to write, people. Act 2. We are going to write for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. This is just working out the details. So think about Act 1. Okay, Act 2 begins. Write your plan at the top. What is your protagonist's plan? I think his plan is to find out what BioWare is hiding. That's his plan. What is this company hiding? That's the protagonist. And just to add some more help towards me, I think I need to add the antagonist goal. And the antagonist goal is to find out who sells the best pizza in the city so they can have their lunches from there. No, that's not their goal. Their goal, obviously, is sweet caffeine. Find out, well, I mean, I guess very generically, gain power over others. I mean, isn't that what every villain tends to want, is power over others? Join me and we can rule the galaxy as father and son. That's Darth Vader, just in case you couldn't tell. I mean, I can't do the voice, but I hope you recognize the line. But specifically, see, this is, okay, they want power over people. So I mean, if you have a device that lets you hack into their people's brains and control them, that gives you a lot of power. Who's going to stop you? People who aren't hooked up. So they want more people. Want more people hooked up, even though there's no like set amount. We must get 80% of the population. This isn't like herd immunity or anything. This is just they want more. But there are people who are trying to stop them. I mean, in Matrix, you had like Zion is sending out ships and hacking in. So what they wanted in Matrix was the keys to the mainframe, the codes to the mainframe codes to the mainframe in Zion. So they could go in and destroy Zion from the inside. I'll have to do some more thinking about that. So let's move on. But think about that. Think about what your antagonist and your protagonist is. Next one, enemies and allies. So they've just decided to join BioWare to get inside. So he goes and signs up. So that's starting the trajectory going into BioWare. On the same hand, he's got allies. So the love interest. I haven't named any of these characters yet, and that's probably not a great thing. But I'll do it one day. Oh, yes, I will. Love interest is a member of the rebellion. Your faith in your friends is yours. Now I got my head in Star Wars there. So he's going into BioWare. He's meeting like probably, I guess you could say not the trainer, but maybe like an overseer of some sort. And then as he gets up there, maybe he even sees the CEO of BioWare at this sort of games. I'm trying to think of like how would they test people's ability. And I think the best way to do that, and the most entertaining way, is a series of games, like almost like a mini Olympics. So everyone starts out maybe, and it's just like a run. Okay, everyone, it may not be exciting, but we'll see how far can you run in an hour or half an hour. And people who can't get any further than that, then they're kind of your class D. And then you move on to the next group. Okay, now we're going to be doing some climbing and lifting weights. And as you go up, eventually they're left with a group of potential workers who are like class A. And maybe that's when the CEO. So you get to see the overseer who's like overseeing training and these games of some sort. And the CEO, she shows up and looks out over the minions that will soon be hers. Meanwhile, the rebellion. Love interest is a member of the rebellion. She is trying to help him know what to expect. And also there's going to be sort of the cell, the rebel cell. Probably just 3 members. They don't know who else is out there. They work independently. So there's just the 3 of them. Hero, love interest, and then of course, to have a good love triangle, some other guy. We'll call him friend-zoned. FZ will be in love with the love interest, but of course she only has eyes for the hero, and so he has a little bit of resentment there as well. But he's also like a really good tech guy, and they're working together to infiltrate. So he goes, he does the training. Or he's signed up, comes back to his allies, gets more information, etc., and trained. Games and trials. You think that this would be... Okay, this is the next section. You think this would be the actual games that I was talking about, but I'm not sure it should be. Sorry, yeah. Hey, there's another, user. Casino, thanks. Welcome. Welcome to the zoo. Hopefully, if you want to interject and share advice you have or tell us what you're working on, that would be awesome. You too, sticky pigs. You can do it too. I just kicked the wall. Yeah. We can talk later. Anyway, games and trials. I don't think that this needs to be the actual games where he's getting into the program. I think that's just enemies and allies. Because one of the things that they talk about in screenwriting, especially Blake Snyder's Save the Cat, is the fun in games, which is, I think, the games and trials section that they're talking here, is it has to deliver on the promise of the premise. This is like those cool scenes you see in the trailer that, like, Harry's a wizard. You're a wizard, Harry. So him showing up and learning, like, the first little bits when he gets to Hogwarts. And, he sees the teachers, Miss McGonagall, transform from a cat into a person. That's in the trailer, I think. When he's out on the Quidditch pitch and learns that he's really good at flying on the broom. Like those kind of first scenes where he's discovering who he is in the new world. That's kind of like, ooh, that's good trailer fodder. It's fun to see on the big screen, like, because we are Harry and we are like in awe of all this stuff just as he is. So in my case, he is into the program, but he learns later on that they are using him not as like just some hired laborer and moving boxes around. He is an assassin because he's got good reflexes and he's strong and he's fast and all that stuff. So they are pumping information into his brain that lets, like, how to use weapons, knife fighting, all those things. They've discovered BioWare has a new sort of upgraded hardware that lets them upload memories, fake memories into people's brains so that they can learn these skills. So he's becoming an assassin, and I think the promise of the premise of that he's being used as an assassin unbeknownst to him or against his will would be him discovering he has all these new abilities. So he gets into the program, he has his friends, his allies, make that fairly short. Like maybe that's just a chapter. And at the end, he gets taken into the processing room and they plug something into the back of his brain and he passes out from the pain. And he wakes up in the recovery room and they send him home and here's your signing bonus. Take a couple days off and we'll call you. So, sweet goodness. I'm going to do that every time I drink, just so you guys know. So the games and trials should be about him sort of maybe discovering that he knows something that he didn't think he knew. So he goes back to his house. Back to his, well, it's not really his house. His new hideout. I don't know, it's not really a hideout. He's homeless, people. So what do you call someone, their camp? His camp? Sleeps for a couple days. Because it's painful. Then I think he has a couple days where he is activated. Then, this is what I think. I think he has to have a seizure. Because that's what sets off this whole promise of the premise thing. He has a seizure which sort of messes up the wiring in his brain so that now it's like his regular brain can access these new memories that before only the BioWare implant could. So it has to be fairly early. Like this might have to be, who knows? Yeah. This is just a seizure, goes, buys more meds because he realizes he probably, like this all probably happened really quickly. So he got some money from them for signing up, his signing bonus. More meds, uses it to go buy some food and meds, but it's too late. He's already kind of had a seizure. So after a couple days, he knows things. So I'm thinking things like lock picking, knife fighting / handling. I'm not sure if this is if they can upload knowledge directly. Like, I don't think they can make him a computer programmer, but they can upload physical skills, like things that your muscles can like remember. So knife fighting, yeah, instinctively. Lock picking, I don't know, it's kind of a knowledge thing, but maybe basic. See, this is stuff I still have to figure out. So that's the promise of the premise, games and trials. He has money, he's getting paid, has a potential love interest, has new abilities. So he's liking it. He's like, maybe this BioWare thing is pretty cool. He's happy. Maybe he's having second thoughts. Well, maybe I don't want to bring this BioWare company down. And I think that maybe that what I just talked about goes into the next part, which is earning respect. Small victories as lead proves capable. Fun and games, begrudging acceptance. So I think it will have to bleed into the next section. So he's having fun, and BioWare is pleased with your performance. I think somewhere in there is, this is, now in this world, because people aren't too overly fond of people who are selling themselves as human robots, drones, I'm still trying to come up with a name. Because they're still not pleased, a lot of these people wear masks over their faces. Simple masks, just so that they can go about their job. No one knows who is this dickwad who is stealing my job. And I think the Allies want to give him a mask that is bugged. He knows it. Like, that's probably kind of, this is probably where he first kind of understands why his friend was killed. Like, he knew that his friend was doing some work, but this is what probably happened, is he was given a mask that they thought would help him, shield the recording device. Maybe like a little microchip inside that recorded audio. I haven't decided the technology limit. I don't think that I'm going to allow video recording in this universe. Like, there's video, but the cameras are not that small yet. So, but maybe audio is doable. So they show him the mask. They give him, like, we want you to wear this when you go on your shifts, and just hit record before you go to sleep, and it should record for 12 hours, and we'll be able to listen at least to what you were saying and what you did. Boom. Then comes the first pinch point, which is forces of evil. Forces of evil. Do 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 do. Forces of evil. You know what? That's another. This just reminded me of a story idea. If one of you guys want to steal it, as long as you give me some credit or free tickets to the movie, or send me a signed copy, totally okay with it. Imagine a zombie apocalypse. You know how they always show at the beginning, like some sick monkey or bat goes and bites a person, and that person gets sick and vomits and ends up eating the face off of someone else, and then it just zombie apocalypse happens. My idea is that monkey or bat bites a backup singer / dancer from, like, in a Hollywood musical. Like, the bus is carrying the cast to location, and it somehow messes with his genes together, and instead of making zombies, decrepit undead who want to feast on living, it gives everyone a perfect sense of pitch and rhythm. So suddenly the world turns into like a musical. People, like the people who are bitten and infected, kind of are connected psychically with each other. So that whole musicals, what you think is, no one's gonna sing in high school, dancing down the halls, and everyone knows, like, in this movie they will. And instead of the survivors being, the people who are immune and have to survive in this new world, the immune, like, they're fine. They can't sing and dance with everyone else, which would suck if you really love music and you want to be a songwriter. So you see the whole world around you, like, singing, and it's peaceful and harmonious, even if some people are still dicks. But I mean, they have a connection that you can never have. That would suck. I think that's an interesting story. So I think if anyone wants to use that, feel free. Oh, well, thank you, Elliot Moore. AU Books. What would be the life lesson of that? Good question. See, this is my problem with I have ideas about, like, the first act, that would be cool, and at the ending, that would happen. But, like, the goal and the life lesson, hit me with what you think the life lesson should be. Maybe there are other ways we can connect to people, or, just because you're not as good as other people at something doesn't mean maybe you shouldn't give up. I don't know. I just think of, like, the whole seeing the world. What do you mean? What do you mean? At what level? At self-isolation? Like, would the survivors be self-isolation, or? Because, yeah, in my head, I'm thinking the virus went through quickly, so no chance to self-isolate. Everyone who is immune, and everyone who wasn't is now singing and dancing about how they got the girl, or got that raise, or I'm feeling sad. Anyway. Oh, well, yes. It definitely has to be a high schooler. I think that'd be easier to do, and there'd be more angst and more songs than, a middle-aged accountant. Probably doesn't have a whole lot of reason or as much to sing and dance. Oh, yeah. Anyway, I like the idea, but that's not I'm getting sidetracked. What? You mean a single high schooler? So that person is the only person in the world who is not infected? That would suck. That would really suck. I mean, it'd have to be rare, because in most of these movies, the survivor, there's like one survivor out of 10,000 or 100,000. So it would kind of, I think in a sense it would suck to be on the outside in that situation because everyone else, because of this virus, they're almost like psychically connected because they'd have to be in order to know the song and the dance that everyone else is doing. You can't practice beforehand. So there's got to be like some sort of psychic connection, which means everyone kind of feels what everyone else can feel. I think there'd be more empathy and the world would almost be nicer in this outbreak. But so you have this one guy who's basically a nice guy and he wants to be part of it, but he can't get infected. So he wants everyone else not to be infected, which would make the world worse. Yeah. Tell you what, Elliot, you borrow the story idea and see what you can come up with, because that's, yeah. I think I was going to call it I Hate Musicals, the musical, or The Apocalypse, the musical. But anyway, so Forces of Evil, I'm getting off track, man. Forces of Evil. Well, you can, if you think there's something there, man, Elliot, you take it. And you write something that kicks ass. And just send me a copy of the book, or maybe if it's a screenplay that you're writing, if there's a screenplay you're writing instead of a novel, then just maybe make one of the characters, name them after me. That's Neil, Neil. Okay, yes, Forces of Evil. So I'm sorry. Yes, the first pitch point, Forces of Evil. Stakes are raised, antagonists revealed. So this is where in Star Wars, I guess that would be like the scene where Darth Vader's standing there and they've got all the Empire head honchos sitting around the table. And and some of them are foolishly making fun of Darth Vader. You, my friend, are all that remains of their religion. And he just... So this would be where the CEO reveals her dastardly plan. I must. And then... What, The Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals by Star Kid is very similar to what Sidetracked Idea was. What? Are you saying that my idea is not unique in the universe? I am shocked and I am appalled. This must end. No, I figure it's hard to come up with a truly unique idea. Really, you can only really have unique executions of the idea. I still think my execution is unique, but Elliot's going to do it, so it's all good. You, on the other hand, what are you working on? I just kicked the wall. You can tell me later, because there's probably like a delay and I don't know. Anyway, so the CEO, that's what I'm going to have. This is where the CEO reveals their plan. I must do X or else all will fail, etc., etc. I mean, that's a very generic thing. This is where I think I need to go back to this character art worksheet, except do it for the villain. I printed out a couple. One I want to do for the antagonist and one I want to do for the villain. So that's what I'm going to do, yo. That's what I'm going to do. Oh, Matthew 03. Welcome back. I think I saw you before in the first chat. I hope you're enjoying this. So we're almost there, people. We're almost there. We're just at sort of point 11. Chapter 11, if you really want to play it very literally, as in this is going to be like a 24 chapter book. Problem revealed. This is difficult. This is what I wrote before. What did I write before? My writing is awful. Okay, this is what I think This is what okay, so he's had some time now. Probably weeks have passed. So the problem is revealed is he needs to avoid certain activity. Avoid strenuous activity, maybe? To avoid having seizures. And ba-dump. He's already had one after he had this implant, which allows him to access the memories. Now he goes to sleep, he gets activated, we don't know what happens. You know, the book fades to black, but then it cuts. It starts with him standing over a dead body. Oh, that's right. That brings me back. This is why I like this workbook, is because I'm not writing anything down exactly right now. So it reminds me of something. I can go back and I can add it, and I'll just know it next time. So we have the CEO and the forces of evil, they are aware of heroes' attempt to infiltrate and record their activities. Which brings me then to the problem revealed. He has a seizure while he's working. What do you mean the first problem? Like this, he's had many problems, but this is sort of the revealing problem. Yes, he got fired. He's lost his friend to suicide. But right now he's just kind of enjoying infiltrating the organization. But we're coming up to the point where he's going to be revealed. Like he knows that his cover is blown now. Earlier in the previous chapter, they knew about it and they were going to deal with him. And that chapter 11 is where they're going to start to deal with him, I believe. Dead body. So he has a seizure. He wakes up. He regains consciousness over a dead body, weapon in hand. Over a dead body, weapon in hand. So he knows, oh my goodness, I haven't been restocking the local Costco at night. I just killed, and it's going to be someone important, someone that BioWare wanted to get out of the way. Yes. It's kind of Matrix-y, but this takes place in a steampunk universe, so it's not quite so. I'm not sure if it's going to be a Wi-Fi network of some sort. Like whether he has to, when he goes to sleep, he goes and gets his orders for the day uploaded. But yeah, it's literally something that's in the back of his head. Tell me what would be sick. And I may disregard it, but I may steal it, so it's all good. I'm waiting for your genius. And while we're waiting, if anyone else wants to jump in with some genius as well, that would be okay. So while we're waiting for that, he wakes up. He's killed the person. And he's freaking out. Oh my goodness, what have I done? This is what they've been doing. What? Hey, man. To kill him for being... What if he was staring at his body? But he is the hitman. I mean, I like the idea, but then he'd have to be someone differently the entire time. And the idea earlier, yes, it would be, for sure. I guess it could work, because the lie, I'm not sure if you were here at the very beginning, but we talked about sort of the lie that they live, and he believes he can trust his body, but not his mind. because he's an epileptic. So he's had seizures all his life. He doesn't trust his brain. He trusts his hands. So, getting pulled out of his own body would be crazy. But I'm not sure. I don't think the technology, because this takes place in a steampunk universe. Everything is kind of Victorian and clunky, and it's advanced, but it's not crazy advanced like that. I'm not sure. It's no, it's not a dumb thought. It's interesting. It's not something I thought about at all. But now I will have to mull it over. But it would be, because there is an element of controlling someone else's body in respect in this. Because, I'll just tell you one of the, and like my possible ending here is that the CEO of BioWare is actually being controlled by someone else. She was just like an upper management person years ago when this technology was first coming out. And she got connected, but because she's female, she has long hair and hides it very well. So no one knows that she actually is being controlled by someone else. So when he finally, confronts the CEO and they probably fight and, he short circuits her, for lack of a better word. She's like, what am I doing here? Who am I? Who are you? What's going on? Because she had no idea that this was happening. And the person who's controlling them is someone who's rather close to him. Not the love interest, though, just so you know. But I just thought that would be interesting. I do like I like the idea of kind of body control, which is what this is sort of about. I just don't know about jumping from body to body. That would be weird. Maybe if there was like a supernatural element. But I'm getting offhand here. Maybe next week. So he wakes up, he's got the sword, and then police show up. So he has to flee. He flees because, one, like, how did the police get there so quickly? It's because they were tipped off. They wanted him arrested. They didn't know he was going to have a seizure and wake up. They thought that they would, get him framed. But he flees, gets home, contacts allies, tells them, like, oh my goodness, they know I'm him. They're trying to kill me. So the discovery and ultimatum. This is where he has to, is he going to stay in or is he going to stay out? This is the midpoint. And I think that is where, it's about being an accident. Well, yeah, it could be an accident. The technology wasn't built for it, but who knows? Like, I wasn't sure if there was going to be a Wi-Fi element to this, like, or if everyone had to be hardwired before they could do their job. You have given me much to think about, Mr. Elliot, and so I shall. I shall indeed think more. But yeah, this is, and then chapter 12 is the midpoint. That is like, he recommits himself. Before he was kind of reacting and maybe do it, but now he's like, okay, BioWare, not only do I know they killed my friend, and me now, they are up to something big. So now that it's personal, he's gonna. So that's probably all one chapter, almost 11 and 12. Because originally I didn't think about it would be 24. Like, this is just the work booklet that I'm working out of. And just in case, Elliot, you're wanting to see the title, there it is. Plan Your Book, Derek Murphy. You print it out, and it just kind of gives you a help. I think it's going to have to be a total collapse of the system. it's kind of sad that you're thinking about, oh, but a sequel would be awesome. So it could be that, they destroy the system, but the sequel is about someone else. Maybe they can't get everyone's implants out anymore. That they've so intertwined with the brain that to remove the implants would kill them. So everyone who's used to be under control would are kind of stuck with it. But since they're not going to plug themselves in at the company to find out what their job is, no, I don't think so. It's not. It's these people still have knowledge. They work during the day if they have a job. Like this is sort of, yeah. You don't have the backstory, so I'll just kind of try and sum it up. People, this is Victorian London, Industrial Revolution, but in a steampunk universe. So, there's lots of workhouses and physical labor. And this company, BioWare, has developed a technology, steampunky, I just love that word, that can plug into people's brains. So you can work your 8-hour shift at the dock. Then you can, if you have the implant, you can go home and sleep for your 8 hours or 10 hours. But when you fall asleep, BioWare can activate you. So your brain is still sleeping. You're unconscious. You're resting. But your body gets up and BioWare hires you out, like these hordes of workers, these drones, to companies. It's like, hey, you need people to clean your factory? Sure, these people they don't require a lot of thought. And we'll hire them out at half the price of your current workers. And so it's kind of, it starts out fine, but as more people lose their jobs to these workers, they have to sign up for the program itself because they have to find income. And it's like, I'm trying, I can't find a job. At least I can do some work while I sleep at night and get paid half of what I got paid. So, why thank you. I think it is a good idea. So it's like so when everyone gets freed, it's not like crazy things happen. It's like suddenly there's more jobs. Suddenly, we don't have this cheap labor anymore. And people will probably get better jobs and better pay again. So it'll be a good thing, but it's just the arc of this economy is not good. So it is a good thing to bring it crashing down. But maybe in the sequel, someone working on the project discovers a way to access everyone through Wi-Fi, like new wireless technology. And suddenly they can go about and activate people. They don't have to plug them in or they don't have to do anything. So it's not, I shouldn't be thinking about sequels, but I am. So anyway, that's the midpoint. He is discovered by them. He knows that they are up to something, and I think he's probably got to figure out this discovery and ultimatum, this last chapter, he's got to discover the antagonists. Plan. And he's going to commit himself to, I'm going to stop them. That's the midpoint. So hopefully you guys have, you guys are working on stuff along with me, and you're working on Act 2. That would be super fantastic. And let me know what you're doing. And like Elliot, tell me your thoughts, because this is for everyone. Remember, pinky out, guys, when you drink. And now the end is near, and as I face the final curtain, my friends, you're new here? Oh, thoughts on, are you writing a book, Elliot? I'm assuming that you are, with books in your name, you're kind of a writer. Interesting, tell me. I'm writing a McDonald's sci-fi. That is interesting. I have no idea what McDonald's sci-fi is. I love sci-fi, but I don't know what McDonald's sci-fi is. Please enlighten me. And my second book is, oh, crap, man. You should be talking about this. Maybe I'll have to bring you in with a little picture-in-picture. Ah, McDonald's sci-fi. Well, that's kind of the best sci-fi. Well, I mean, actually, sci-fi is, I find it's almost like chocolate-covered raisins in the sense that I love chocolate and I don't like raisins. But you put chocolate on something, in this case sci-fi, you can get some like really deep thoughts and important issues talked about, and no one seems to care because it's covered in sci-fi goodness. So, it's hard to find bad sci-fi in my mind. So, what's the name of your book? Your first, like, have you got anything published, or is your second book is with your editor? I'm assuming there's a first book, or is that your second book is the first one you got to your editor? I'm intrigued. I want to know. Written in omnipresent. Okay, everyone, look up this book. For publishes Valentine. Written in omnipresent. Okay. And is the author Elliot Moreau? I'm guessing it is, unless you're working under a nom de plume. Yeah, send a link. I would like to look at it. It's cool. I had a friend years ago who self-published. I've always been afraid of sending stuff out. It's just, I'm trying to overcome that fear. Most of my writing has been in screenplays. And so I've written like sci-fi screenplays. I've written a teen sort of slasher comedy sci-fi. And did I write a fantasy comedy? I've like dabbled in a lot of different, but the one thing that's always the same is I've written it, gone through it a couple times, and then I've just put it in a folder on my computer and never looked at it again. I'm afraid to send things out. So kudos to you for getting off your butt and getting off of that fear. Well, hello again. I just kicked the wall. Well, yes, I imagine you would never stop learning. But I am, I'm scared for some reason of showing my stuff. So I'm hoping that this will get me over that fear. We help each other out and bounce ideas off, and hopefully someone somewhere in this group will publish something and say, that group was very helpful. And that would be awesome. Indeed you can. Except I can't, smite people with Twitch. That would be interesting. I guess you can ban people, but I don't like to do that. Smiting would be cooler. Click a button and somewhere in the universe or somewhere in the world, someone gets a shock through their mouse. That would be kind of fun. Oh yeah, Twitter is a cesspool. And if I didn't have to go on there for my job, I wouldn't. So I would not go a lot with the smiting. But anyway, I do have to it was nice talking to you, Elliot. It was awesome, actually. And I'm sorry I have to close this down, but I have to go pick some people up at 8:30. So that's like in 8 minutes. So have a good day, everyone. Hopefully what we talked about was helpful. It was helpful to me. It was nice chatting with all of you. And by all of you, I mean Elliot, because he was so lovely to chat with. And everyone else was quiet. And have a good night, everyone. Be safe. Do some writing this week. And I will try and do the same. And we will get back next Tuesday at 7 o'clock. And we will talk about the second half of Act 2. And yeah, see what everyone's been up to. Ciao, everybody. And